We realized he had a problem around age 3 or 4. It was he couldn't really talk or communicate, and he would try to talk to me, and he couldn't get the words out, and he would just get frustrated. I found out through a teacher in Branford that there was a school called Early Years, and I brought him there, and they tested him and found that he had a learning disability. And with that, they got him a Pell Grant to go to school. They were so wonderful there. They were warm and loving and caring, and they had so much patience and understanding. They helped me understand his issues and helped me work with him, and they gave me different skills and ways to help, nurture him at home when it came to his disability. And it's important for parents to be able to identify what is actually a learning problem and what is just kind of a late bloomer, or if it's really, a developmental issue. And these sorts of things are important, and it was good that I had a resource to go to say, is this someone who, that can help me, and is this really a situation that, am I just overlooking it and thinking he's a late bloomer, or does he really have a problem that he needs help with? And they were able to identify that, and they were able to assess it and let me know what he needed, pretty much what they could do and how long it would take for them to get him where he needed to be to catch up. And he started, and I think about the first month he started, I could see the difference in him. The first thing I saw was his confidence level went right up. I mean, he didn't seem frustrated. He didn't seem like he was, quiet and afraid to speak up. He really expressed himself, and he was actually able to talk. He was able to use words and actually communicate with me. And when you communicate with your child, that's when you're able to know who they really are, who that person is inside. And I didn't know who he was on the inside. I just knew what he was on the outside. So when he was able to talk to me and express it to me, it was like I had my son for the very first time, and I felt like they brought that to me. Mrs. Bloom was like Jonathan's second mother. And it's a true but funny story. I was making him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich once, and he asked me to cut the crusts off the sandwiches. And I said, well, that's something new you've never asked me to do. And he said, well, Mrs. Bloom always does that for me. So I knew that, he was getting fussed over and spoiled. And he looked forward to seeing his teacher. He looked forward to seeing his friends. When he got into an environment where people were positive, there were people just like him, there, that he felt like he was more accepted, and he felt more important, and it was very good for him. It was very good. Early intervention is really key. It's very important because it really helps the kids get a head start. When they enter school now, it's very difficult. They have a lot of higher standards. They need to have a lot of skills prior to entering regular formal education. So if the child doesn't get those skills, they will definitely have to stay back because it's intense, and without it, I don't even think my son would have been able to enter like a regular school, at the appropriate age, and actually be able to even kind of keep up slightly. I mean, without them getting him prepared, I don't think he would have been able to do it, quite honestly. When Jonathan left Early Years and he had to go to a regular public school, the transition was, there was pros and cons. There was good, and there was some things that weren't so good. The fact that he was in a little bit bigger classroom was a little harder on him. I think pre-K and kindergarten need to kind of be intertwined in a way that the, the teachers work together and work out some sort of criteria of what they can do to prepare them to go from pre-K to kindergarten, so that the transition won't be that difficult. The only thing I wish I could share is if anybody could ever do anything to help continuing the effort in helping kids with learning disabilities get the care and education that they really need. It is so important because they are a very integral part of society, and autism also is a disability that's very prevalent amongst a lot of learning disabilities, and it's becoming more and more so. And I think it's important that we recognize it now, and we start, really getting involved in that, because in implementing that in the regular school system, but also having some, degree of type of program like early years.